What's up? Welcome back to a brand new episode.
This
Can you
is
believe it?
episode. Do you know the number?
I don't know. 12, right?
No, bruh. You
What is-
tripping.
what
It's
is it?
13.
13. Holy crap. 13.
Lucky 13,
I
bruh.
can't even believe that. This is
Straight up.
blowing my mind. Anyways,
Also, I got a question for the ladies viewing out there real quick.
I don't
What do you think of my shirt?
think there's any women
You
watching.
messing with it or no?
I don't think
Okay.
there's any women watching this.
Just
I'm
see, just
sorry,
see.
bro.
There might be. Or the guys. The guys too. I need someone.
He needs some. Wait.
Just
Wait,
kidding.
what do you mean by you need
Because
someone?
today
bro?
we're going to be talking about relationships
and
and
gaming.
and how they're toxic / could be toxic for you.
Mhm.
But more just getting into like how important relationships are for our growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking a bit about how like toxic relationships and how they can mess you up, as well as talking more about, positive relationships and how they can build you up as well, you
Yeah.
know, and kind of how to identify those things and talking about some of our experiences as well, how we got to where we are today, because relationships played a big part in, I think, basically all of our growths, you
Mhm.
know?
We got my brother Sal here. Guest.
Brother Sal,
What's up?
Sal's here.
he's back again.
Back again. Part 2 for this.
And this is kind of like part 2 of the last episode.
Yeah, last
where
episode.
we talked about like gamer mindset, stuff like that. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. And we're going to kind of dive into more stuff that we were talking
Mhm.
about and we just didn't have enough time to get to.
But before we get started, there is a fee.
There is a fee.
Now you may be asking, what is that fee? This ain't no monetary fee, all right? This is an information exchange podcast. We're never going to throw any ads at you. We're not going to bother you with something stupid. We're always going to help you grow, okay? If we gave you anything that made you smile, laugh, look at the world differently, new thought process, if we helped you in any way whatsoever, all right? Go tell someone about this.
Go tell them.
That's how we grow this podcast, is by word of mouth. So that is the exchange here, okay? You go tell someone, we make good podcasts, and that's how we do it, all right? So help us grow. That's how we do this. Anyways, let's jump into it.
All right.
Where do you guys want to start? What's the first thing? Let's talk about bad relationships.
Yeah. I feel like
Toxic.
toxic
Okay,
is the main
toxic's-
thing
yeah.
we're going to get into today.
Okay.
And just talk about how that all affects us, you know? But first, I'm going to tell a story because that's how I like to start things. You know what I mean? But this is going to be kind of like, I'm not going to get into detail, but I'll tell a little story about, some stuff I experienced through high school, relationship stuff that helped me realize a lot of things, you know? So I think, I was a young gamer. We'll jump back to like sophomore year me, right? 15, 16-year-old Aiden. I was tripping, for real. I was tripping hard. Like, main thing is this, right? Never had a real girlfriend before. Never had like a relationship. So in my head, I idealized it as like this perfect thing. Oh, get a girlfriend? I'm chilling, bro. We talked about this in the last episode.
I think a lot of guys can relate to that.
Yeah.
Like, the idealized having a girlfriend, everything's perfect.
Everything's perfect. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I have a girlfriend. Like, nothing will be bad, you know? And some things I realized kind of through it were like in sophomore year. Nick remembers some of the ladies that we were going after. Won't name names,
Issues.
but it was definitely some
H to the Izzo.
definitely some interesting times going through there. And I learned a lot about myself, kind of like the main thing I learned is that I can kind of jump into things too quickly, right? I think a lot of guys can relate with this. When we get excited, get interested, we jump, head first into that relationship, get a little too clingy, things get a little too attached, and that can a lot of the time lead to, us getting burnt out, right? Like, it's just like with anything. If you try to like, go work 7 days a week for like 4 months, you know what I mean? You're going to be burnt out. Like, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only so much we can handle, and it applies to the same thing with the relationship. And that was one big concept I learned, right? Like, if I try to go 7 days a week, all day, every day, talking blah, 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 for months at end, you're going to get burnt out. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's natural to like take some time apart from each other. So I think that's an important thing to kind of like look at and just kind of like have those boundaries of like not too much, because if you have too much, kind of burns at both ends, And then through that, I did get a girlfriend. We talked about this in the last episode. I also told her I couldn't hang out with her to play Ark. But like, yes, I have my problems too.
Shout out to the grind.
So,
Arc addiction goes strong.
go strong. But the main thing that really I learned from that was that concept of like, I was burning myself down too much from needing to be with this person all the time, right? We were both very clingy and like we both kind of fed into this like, oh, we need to talk all the time, be together all the time, blah, 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 blah. And eventually it just became too much, right? And since I've ended that relationship, it's been the best growth I've ever had, right?
Damn me up.
And I'm not saying go break up with your girlfriend right now.
Nah, bro,
Frick
go
her.
break up with your girlfriend, get that bag.
But what I mean is think about some of the ways, that maybe your relationship is creating that kind of toxic mentality, right? If you're in a relationship right now, I know a lot of people who are in relationships where it's too much, right? There's not enough freedom for you to go work on yourself. And you can be in a relationship and work on yourself. But a lot of the time, people don't have the trust and the capacity to let that happen. You know what I
They
mean?
don't like look for the balance. They kind of just look for the
Yeah.
love.
And like kind of letting emotions guide them a lot, right? And a lot of the time what can happen is once you go through the breakup, right? What helps people grow the most is from there, you don't have that a person to go back to. You're broken up. You don't got anybody. You know what I mean? So you got to learn the hard way to be comfortable and happy with yourself, So like if you're trying to do it with someone you're in a relationship with, totally can be done. If you both kind of agree to it and work on it. But like I said, like the main thing that I think a lot of people run into is they try to do it, they get sad from like having less time with that person, and they rebound back to it. You know what I mean? I see it like all the time. People are like, oh, I got to work on myself. They go for like a week, then they're back to hanging out with that person every day, like just wasting time. So like think about that. Relationships can be positive, but if it becomes too much, it will only kind of spiral into a negative.
So here's kind of the point I want to make sure, at least this is how I feel personally for all those young men out there. We're all grinding. A lot of guys, they want to be in a relationship. We talked about this in the last episode. Like, that's a huge motivator. But I think just to kind of recap that, like, you should work on yourself, and that will help you gain a relationship in the process, Like, chase after the bag, chase after your dream physique, like, work on your mental health. Like, for all things, honestly, work on your mental health first, and that will, like, in turn, help you get the goals that you want to get,
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I just want to say, like, if you're a dude who wants a girlfriend really badly right now, you're super motivated to like grind, get into a relationship, you should focus on making yourself better is in all areas that you want to improve on, and you'll be like set up. Like, that's the main point I want everyone to take home here is work on yourself first. Don't worry about relationships. They'll be there, because if you're your best self, you're going to attract the best like partner. So
exactly,
that is just one thing I really think is important here. Is like a lot of guys need to know that.
Do you want to say anything, Tristan?
I think being alone, you'll actually fall in love with the grind instead of trying to find someone else.
Yeah.
Like throughout your process of being alone, you'll find out that like the growth is actually going to be a lot more beneficial to you instead of like not necessarily wasting time with somebody else, but putting in effort to something that could not be even true.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was saying there too about that. Like, you can try to do it while in a relationship, like work on yourself, but a lot of the time you have to kind of have that like cold, like you don't got anyone to go back to. So the only way you can try to do it is improve yourself and get through that hard part of being alone. You know what I mean?
I think so. Here's one thing about like, that being alone thing. I think a lot of people, what I've observed is when they go through a breakup, their first instinct is to go and start talking to so many other people. They go into like a straight, like, I'm not even going to dumb this down. They just go into a hoe phase, like straight up hoe phase. And respectfully, but that is terrible. That is the worst thing you can do for your growth.
It's definitely, it's a sign of immaturity.
It's 100% a sign of immaturity. Like, I guarantee you're out there, you've seen someone who got broken up with, and first thing they do, instead of even like first week after the breakup, they instantly start going after someone else, and you're like, why would you do that? But like, so many people fall into that pitfall.
Yeah.
I want to kind of get your guys' take on that. What do you think? Like, what have you seen? What are your thoughts? Like, tell me about it.
Well, I've seen it with like a bunch of friends, you know what I'm saying? Like friends I just had going through stuff, and I see it, once again, not going to name names, but they know who they are. But the main thing, I was giving them the glare of death right there if you're not watching through video. But basically, I 100% agree. Like when I went through my breakup, I tried to have the hoe phase. The hoes weren't there, but I tried to have it.
You could easily get the hose. It's just the confidence isn't there.
Yeah, and so I tried to. Like, I totally, like 100%. When I see people go through it, I'm sad. Like, I'm like, man, that sucks. Like, I wish they didn't. But I know that for them, like, it's kind of natural for people to do when they get out of a relationship, right? And me now, like, I think your first real breakup, like, you break up with them, and it was, like, a big, impactful relationship to you, it's going to be really hard. And it's natural for people to go to that, like, the hoe phase, go talk to people. It's normal, right? I'm like, man, just work on yourself. But I know that'll come. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the sad truth is this. For guys, a lot of the time when we go into our hoe phase or like we break up and if we go after girls, a lot of the time it doesn't work. We look desperate. But when girls do it, low key, they get the attention.
No, seriously. Like
they get the attention. And what
happens,
sucks
bro.
is I'm saying it's a bad thing for girls who are trying to focus on growth. If you go into that hoe phase, like guys will take advantage of that. You know what I mean? There's so many guys who aren't going to be like, man, you just got out of a breakup. Like, I don't think you should do this right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Guys will take advantage of that in a second. That's what they
100%.
want, right? So for guys, we can get out of a relationship and try to like look for girls, and a lot of the time they'll just kind of like throw you off because you're not confident and you're like down in the dumps and you seem like you're just trying to rebound with them, right? Girls can see that more, but with girls going to guys have no idea, bro. They speak with their their private parts respectfully.
I think most of them couldn't care less that you.
That's what I'm
aren't
saying.
In distress.
Like most guys don't really care, so then they'll just be like, oh yeah, let's go mess around. You know what I'm saying? Because they love that. That's most dudes want that. You know what I'm saying? So like, what that does then is for girls, they go get out of the relationship. They go try to find someone. They find them because guys are dogs. And then what happens is they don't ever really grow, right? A lot of the time they get stuck into something else, get right into something toxic, and then they just kind of do this cycle of repeating things because there's always somebody there to satiate that
You
hunger.
always see it, bro. You always see it.
And I see it. And it's like, I feel like for every girl that breaks up with someone, like it's like maybe one person will go and they'll actually grow, and then the other person will go and deal with like that hoe phase, right? But for guys, it's like 1 in 10. One will go into a hoe phase because he's actually like really attractive, and then the other 9 will just get shot down. And then they deal with the sadness. They build themselves up, start going to the gym, start focusing on the bag, whatever.
Getting the money, bro.
And that's what I'm saying. Then we have our glow ups. You know what I mean? And like, that's just kind of how it goes. And I think what's sad is a lot of girls don't even realize that like they kind
The whole
of
phase is toxic.
yeah, like it's really bad. And once again,
it's like the culture though.
Yeah.
That, like our world is in. You know.
it's just kind of how
It's like
is.
glorified to be
Right.
like in the hoe phase. And I'm not just saying just for girls, like for guys and girls too. Like,
Yeah.
it's glorified to be in the hoe phase, but it's really bad.
And I think it's like like when someone breaks up with someone, like they break up, one of the first things a lot of girls would be like, oh, well, let's go have fun and find you some new dude. You know what I mean? Like girls do that to each other. Like I see it happens, right? Like girls when they get into a breakup, like they're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go find someone else, right? And that's kind of like involuntary kind of like reaction to things. Like almost everyone does it, guys and girls. But like I said, girls can have access to that a lot easier than guys can. So then from there, it's kind of like, well, you got to have that mental fortitude and that discipline to say, you know what, I'm like not going to do that. I'm going to focus on myself, right? But that's why it's so hard, That's why we make this podcast to try to show people like, yo, there is that path that's going to help you
There's
grow
the
a
bag,
lot more.
There's the money.
you know?
There's the growth. Like
Exactly.
straight up. I think like I said before, it's like the society thing, right? There's a lot of people who are just going to push for it and tell you to like, oh, just go into the hoe phase. It'll be fun. Don't worry about anything else. When this is the single best time for you to be working on yourself.
Yeah.
Because you don't have anyone else around you now. Like you're by yourself from the relationship, right? Because most people, like when they get from that breakup, they spend a lot more time alone than what they're used to.
Yeah.
So in that time now, the single greatest thing you can do is start working on yourself, because that can lead to so many benefits. It's actually incredible what you can do in like 2 months after a breakup instead of like hoeing out,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You could achieve so much more.
I think it's actually just like mentally, like you said, it's going to be worse to go into the hoe phase, because even let's say you pick up all the hoes, right?
Right.
This goes for guys and girls. It's going to be more draining just to keep up with all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So if you're picking up multiple, like not just one, but like just multiple, you're going to have to keep track of all of that, keep them all entertained, keep them all interested. It's not good for you. It's draining.
Yeah, and it's just gonna end up leading to you, feeling drained. It's like the same thing as basically being in like a really committed relationship. It's like you're spending the same amount of time on your phone, texting people, trying to like keep attention. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Like another issue with it is that like a lot of people are just burying those emotions of the breakup into other people. So like now it's that whole analogy of like you're bleeding on everyone else.
Exactly.
Like, now it's totally selfish, because now you're just gonna hurt other people from the relationship that you got hurt in, instead of like working on yourself. Like, so in that whole issue right there, the hoe phase straight up is just like selfish. Like, that is terrible.
It's not the best. And it's like, once again, it's understandable. I think a lot of people do it. And it's natural. It's a natural reaction to a breakup. But then, yeah, like from there, it's like, well, let's say you find like there's this guy that actually like really values you or whatever. Like speaking on the girl side of things, or like, either way, right?
You find someone who like
you find someone that really values you and actually like cares, right? A lot of the time, what sucks about the hoe phase is you're in this hoe phase and you find this person that values you, and maybe because they value you, they don't try to like get with you or do anything. They like respect that you're in the middle of a relationship. But then a lot of the time what happens is like from there, you're in this hoe phase and you blow them off as like, oh, they just don't care. Like they're just like, they're not interested in me. And you go find someone who's a dog and just is like looking for whatever, doesn't care about you at all. You know what I mean? So you end up losing out on the people who actually care and are actually going to be valuable towards your future because they're not interested in just messing around with you, you know?
So don't go into the hoe phase, like, honestly.
Basically, like, what we're saying is, like, don't do it. But it's natural.
We can't stop you. It's
you
natural.
Can't stop
like,
you.
We get it.
It's a natural reaction.
It happens. But the best choice you can make is obviously to work on yourself. Heal yourself. Grow from that. Because, like, we're all about growth here, you know? There's so many possibilities you can take with just working on yourself. Like, it's incredible. I'm telling you, just the 6 months of working on yourself is insane. Insane what you can do.
I think there's a good chance that someone is watching this is about to go through that. And the best thing to do is to take a step back and think what you could devote your energy into, right? Like you gotta really just look at it from a different perspective instead of thinking with this kind of area. You gotta just really take a step back and think, what could you actually do that's good for you?
Right. And it's like, once again, natural, but then like it's really hard to fight. You know what I mean? Like, I think we'll go back and like I had my breakup, and like I said, like I tried, didn't really work, but I tried, and I'm beyond happy that it didn't work. You know what I mean? Because I think from there I grew a bunch. But for the first 2 months, I definitely wasn't thinking like, okay, how can I like really like grow myself that much? I was just thinking about like, man, I'm sad. I want to find someone new. Blah 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 blah. Which was like in retrospect messed up. You know what I mean? Because like I should totally take it at least 4 or 5 months to digest my relationship before even thinking about getting with someone. But instead, I was not thinking straight because I was going through this hard stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to fight this urge and this natural reaction and be like, man, I'm upset with the fact that this relationship didn't work out the way I wanted to. I'm upset, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go find like anything and everything that I can to try to like, I guess like get back at them and be better than them, like go, you know, show that I don't need them type of thing. And then from there, that's when this like get into this hoe phase, you get into stuff that's just not healthy for you.
Another thing is, so like right when you get out, it's not going to be an overnight thing to just be like better after that. You're not going to feel the next day, oh, let me do something that's going to be great. It's going to take a minute to like, you know, heal up a little bit and then get back into the grind, which going to take a second. Like obviously this kid, he took a minute, which is totally respectable. Like you have to be in the right headspace to do really anything, but don't really take it out too far. Don't drag it on. You gotta accept it, which, you know, like
it'll take time, however long it takes you.
But you got to get back into it. You got to keep going.
And everyone's got a different like length that it takes to accept it, right? So don't like look at other people and be like, well, this person got over it in a month. It might take you a year to get over it, right? It's like, whatever you got to do though to get over that, you're going to have to kind of work on it. But the most, like what we're trying to say is like, try to avoid going to other people, because going to other people is only going to reinforce that negative habit that you've been growing within that toxic relationship, right? Because like realistically, a relationship only ends for 2 reasons. Either it's toxic and one person is upset, or it mutually can't work, right? Yeah. Like there's some reason it can't work. And either one of those is going to be taxing on you as a person, right? If it's toxic, it just hurts, it's bad, it's not good for you. And if it's mutually just not going to be able to work, it's bad for you because it sucks. It like hurts your heart. But once again, it's bad for you mentally. Like you got to be able to move past that, right? And like when I would go through sad things previously, I'd be like, well, I just need like a girl to distract myself with, right? But that's not really true, because most of the time what ends up happening is I'd go to this girl to distract me with, right? And I'd get so invested in trying to get this girl to pay attention to me that I'd end up just getting more bummed and more sad when she didn't want to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? So like yeah, maybe it'll work for you. Maybe you're like bad as frick and the ladies are into you. But like respectfully, like I'm not like that. I don't got it like that. So like a lot of the time it doesn't work for me that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me realize I was like, okay, there's gotta be a different route to it that doesn't involve other people, you know? And that's, you know, and I don't know if you want to say something real quick, because I feel like you do. If you do.
Oh, I got the next concept we'll cover. It's
okay,
really
I have another concept that I wanted to cover.
Okay.
But I just want to talk about like, but at the same time, while bad relationships are terrible to feed into and like going to people who don't really care and are just there to like hook up with you basically is really bad. At the same time, there is some real value in the people that do care. You know what I mean? Because for most people I think out there, a lot of time we got those people that care, those friends that really are there. And that's where these positive relationships can come in to like help you grow. And like, that's what I realized I needed to focus on, right? That was kind of my epiphany. I was so focused on trying to like meet these random new people and focus on these random new people that I didn't realize that like what I really needed was just to reinforce my positive relationships with the people that I cared about, you know, like my family, my friends, you know, the people that I really love, right? Those people are always going to be there for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the people that really matter. And if you just go like hoe phase around and focus on random people who don't care, like, it's just going to hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
It's like an instant gratitude thing.
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Gratification. Yeah. You're not going to be like, it'll be good for that moment, but after that, you're going to feel worse.
After that, you're going to feel worse. 100%.
It'll screw you up.
But, yeah, I just wanted to say that basically.
So, I think I want to kind of expand upon that you covered a while back, but basically, the thing that I think is really important is what a lot of people do when they come out of their relationships. They try to do that kind of like revenge thing. Like, oh, I'm going to get so bad now. I'm going to be so attractive. I'm going to like pull all these people. I'm going to do this, and that, and whatever. Right. And they use that like relationship pain as fuel. But I think what's really important, especially, so let me put this in perspective, right? For the beginning, after that breakup, that's totally cool to use that as fuel towards like self-development, stuff like that. Like I totally
100%.
understand it, right? You know, first couple months or whatever. But I think if you're at a certain point, it's been like a year, it's been like 2 years, and you're still holding on to the pain from that past relationship, it's time for you to let go of that like revenge against them and start focusing on something else, because I think that is an extremely toxic mindset. This is something I only realized till like recently, but I look around at like a lot of my buddies who like have had that big the breakup or whatever, right? And they still hate that girl. And I'm like, why would you hate someone who you previously like loved, you know, whatever? Like that's someone you actually cared about. Why would you hate them for that breakup? I think it's more of letting go and accepting the fact that happened. But the amount of growth that comes from that, like, it's almost like enlightenment, like straight up. The amount of growth that comes from that point right there is insane, bro. I'm telling you, like, letting go, not holding on to that revenge after that breakup is so crucial to growth.
It is. Yeah. Like 100%. It's a great feeling.
Like let go. I'm telling you, man, if you hold on to that like relationship as like the pain fuel, it's not going to work. It works in the short term, but you got to find a long-term energy source.
Bro, you just made like 2 Naruto references and you haven't even watched that part of the show yet.
I
like
just
straight up,
know, bro.
Straight up, like both of those themes are
I'm
like,
just saying, let go.
Like in the show, and you just like hinted at it.
It's important that people let go of that like pain and suffering, find a new energy source, and like you'll get so much peace from that.
Yeah.
Mentally, it's so much cleaner. It's like going from using fire and flames to like water. It's like, I don't know. That's the best way to put it. But like,
right.
I think another thing to extend off the like holding on to it for a year on end, you're gonna end up projecting this onto other people, and I know that from experience myself.
Right.
In 2020, my friends, when I would play games, they would start to dislike me because I was extremely toxic. Who knows?
He would be annoying.
That was really just a projection of my frustration because I was like, it wasn't a relationship, but it was just getting out of something that was really toxic.
Right. And
I ended up projecting onto my friends, and I made up some lies and held some grudges that definitely could have ended some things between some of my friends. But yeah, just you gotta not hold on to it like that.
Yeah. It's like, and hey, the thing is this, if you do something like that and it's messed up, right? If it's a real homie, they'll forgive you for it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And that's like, you kind of gotta go through that process of like figuring out like, well, yeah, like of course, like don't do messed up stuff. Like don't be a jerk friend. But if it happens, your homies will still be there. But you know who's not gonna be there? That random hoe you talking to. For real.
So I'm saying no.
They ain't gonna
hoe-face.
care.
Anti
you know what I'm saying? So like that's kind of what we're trying to reinforce.
We're here.
We're here with the bro phase.
Grow phase, not
the
hoe phase.
Grow phase over hoe phase.
Yeah, that's a good one right there.
Yeah.
Grow phase over hoe phase.
And oh man, I had something to say. Oh yeah. Okay, I got it. So like what you said about the pain thing, right? You're going through a lot of this pain and you're angry. Don't worry, I won't make a Naruto spoiler. Yeah. I am, but you don't know it. Okay. So when you go through a lot of that pain and there's a lot of like hate and resentment that you hold towards people, that all holds you back, right? That bogs down. It's like that idea of like living in your head rent free, right?
Yeah, no, that's
you're sitting there
exactly what it is.
Holding all this hate
rent free.
You know what I'm saying? And like it messes you up because you're so resentful towards the things that happen to you that, I mean, in some ways kind of just happened, you know? Like it's natural. There's some things that are messed up and they happen to you and you hate that happened. But by holding on to that and not accepting it, right? Like it's always good to know it's there and it's always going to be there. But like the best way to get through it is not to like hate it and use it as fuel, but to like accept it and realize like it's in the past, you know, and there's nothing now we can do about it. And the best thing to do is still like to love yourself and keep trying to grow and push yourself to be better, right? Like to show those people who messed with you and who made it hard for you, like show them like, I'm not going to let that affect me, you know, I'm going to grow from that.
I heard this bar from a special somebody. Holding on to like a pain or like a grudge is like holding on to burning coal and expecting to throw it at somebody, but you're the one that ends up getting hurt from holding that.
That was Wiz Khalifa.
Is that really true?
No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Interesting.
No, but like, I see a lot of people who are like, they hate their exes, like literally hate them. And like, I want to make this point. It's like, don't hate them. That was somebody you used to love, right? Like, let go of that. I never talk bad on my exes anymore. Like I've never said anything bad on them ever. Like I'm just like, it's not worth it because I don't hate them anymore. I've forgiven them, and I think that's allowed a lot of peace for me personally.
Yeah. For all the Naruto fans, you know the scene I'm talking about. The people who've watched the whole thing, we're straight up replicating that right now. Like straight up. Nick, when you get like 100 years from now, when you get to the episode, bro takes forever to watch this show. Like I started watching it after him.
I've been watching this show since March 2021, and
I'm like he's on like peak of the best part, bro. He's about to see like the Jiraiya backstory, all that stuff. For my fans out there, they know it's about to get heated, and you're missing out on all this good stuff. But the waterfall scene, you don't even know what that means, but they know. That's what we're talking about right now, straight up. But
I think that is pretty much exactly. That's all I wanted to cover. Like I feel I got all of it out there.
I feel pretty juicy about it.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like a lot of people go through the same thing, right? And it's almost like one thing before we wrap this up. I've met a good amount of people who are at different ages now, right? Like before when I was in high school, you don't really get the opportunity to meet people who are older than you, right? But, you know, through work, you kind of meet some people who are different ages, and you can kind of see people who are caught up in different aspects of their life, right? And like I met some great people at my job, and I met, you know, a couple of my best friends that I have right now through my job. And one of my best friends, I'll shout him out, Spencer, bro. If you're watching this, I love you, bro. Spencer is really like, I've come so close to him. And the thing that's amazing is I've seen like a lot of, like he's 2 years older than me, and like, he's almost like kind of like a big brother figure to me now, you know, like I see a lot of the things and I really appreciate the like mentorship that he gives me in terms of like emotionally, like stuff I go through. But like what I've noticed is like, he's been through a lot of stuff too. And he's, instead of holding on to that, he's also learned to accept it. Right. And from that, he's grown a lot. And I see it and I'm like, but then I also see people who I meet that are older who are just holding on to resentment and hate for no reason, right? They're not accepting what happened to them and letting it move on, but instead they're holding it and making it into like trust issues and problems and things that are hurting their relationships that they have now, right? And like what that does is it just messes up with everything you're trying to achieve, right? You're letting this person that messed you up in the past and did, oh my God, excuse me. I was like holding that one in.
The whole thing.
Shoot. All right. Like you're letting these people. Bro, you're just gonna. Oh my God.
You let go of the pain.
That was the pain coming out right there. It's literally the pain leaving his body, bro.
But what I'm saying is like you're letting these people who messed you up in the past, right? Like this ex that cheated on you or this person who messed with you, you're letting them sit in your head and mess with you and give you trust issues, right? Like, I think trust issues are like a big thing that a lot of people have. Like, I get it 100%. I have trust issues. It happens. It's natural, right? But it mainly comes from not like everyone. You can't trust nobody, right? There are people like, I can't trust anyone. No, you just couldn't trust that person who's living in your head rent free. Respectfully, like, they're messing with you. They were bad and you couldn't trust them, but it doesn't mean you can't trust the other people in your life, you know? And that kind of like, that's like one analogy towards applying to everything. This one person did something messed up to you, but that doesn't mean everyone's going to do that, right? It's good to stay cautious, but like, allow yourself to grow from it and accept it rather than hold resentment towards it and assume everybody you meet's trying to mess with you too, you know?
This reminds me of that one Kung Fu Panda movie. I believe it was Kung Fu Panda 2.
Right.
That was when he found out, like, that one bird. I don't remember the characters, so don't hate me here. Yeah, the bad guy. Basically,
like killed his dad or something.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was a guy. I don't remember, but yeah, don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure, like, Kung Po. He found out that his parents died, and he was kind of holding on to that like pain, I guess.
Right. He was
and
holding
then
on to the pain.
Near the end of the movie, he met like that. Like I think it was like a goat or like a ram or something. Yeah. And that's when he started to let go. He let it flow through him. And then like right after that, that's when he like found out. That's when he got the growth. That's the inner peace.
Bro.
Exactly.
Straight up.
And he never
That's
killed.
hype.
He never killed the bad guy. At the end, he forgave him.
Bro, that's some straight out of Naruto too. Like straight up. That's crazy.
So that's what I'm talking about.
But hey, and also anime helps you grow too.
Honestly, straight
Respectfully,
up. Go watch
anime go crazy.
Yeah, Demon Slayer.
But I think now I've said what I had to say. I'm
Yeah.
at peace. That burp came out. I'm good.
At peace. Okay, I think my closing thoughts is literally just grow. Don't go into the hope phase, do the grow phase, and let go of any past resentment.
Right.
And you'll come find that like enlightenment.
Exactly.
So let go, grow.
That's good.
Yeah.
We're good. All right.
All right, you guys go achieve some greatness this week.
Don't be a hoe.
Don't be a hoe. Go grow.
Go grow.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey,
This
new
is-
motto right there. Don't be a hoe.
I
Go
think it's
grow.
pretty good. Yeah.
All right.
It's all right.
Straight
It's
up.
Monday. Go get after it.
For real.
Peace.
Peace.